Kayode Oladapo. You have the whole floor, sir.
Okay. Um, Permit me to start and say bonjour, and also to apologize that I won't be able to speak in French. Um, as I'm standing here, I'm a bit disappointed in myself because while I was in primary school to junior secondary school, we were taught French in school, but we never paid attention. Now, see me now. If I've done that, I'll be able to speak French even in my own little way. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm happy to be part of this move in Python community as we are experiencing the first ever Python conference in Togo. And it is an honor to deliver my talk on developing artificial intelligence proficiency throughout Africa, who we aspire to be. I want to appreciate Geoffrey and every other team for the good work. If you were in PyCon Africa in Ghana last year, please raise up your hand. PyCon Africa in Ghana, okay. Thank you. We're there together, and I will still talk about that. The aim of this talk is to present a meaningful, informed, and beneficial participation of artificial development, proficiency, and utilization within the African communities. So I am not here to talk to you as a Togolese. I am here to talk to you as As an African, so that we all know what we are doing together as a continent. This talk will cover who truly owns Africa's AI future. And we'll be talking about the prevention of digital colonialism. You all appreciate and know that we were colonized by one or the other. But now they are colonizing us with AI again. And this is time for us to stand up and know what we are doing. When AI is trained on African data, then building competitive AI talent for proficiency. This talk today is for all developers, data analysts, or everyone interested in the story of African communities in AI and data collection in Africa. Just last week, we were in Indaba. I don't know whether you know Indaba. Yes, I presented one of my data sets in Indaba, and I was able to win an award, and that data set is strictly for Ibadan Metropolis data sets. And I just finished a webinar this morning again. I was able to explain what data is all about when you're talking about data integrity. And that is part of what we will be doing here. So let's start. I want you to understand that there is a global AI war. I believe you all believe that. And the AI war is between United States of America and who? And China. We all know what ChatGPT is all about, and we all know what? DeepSeek. And I want to understand that this competition is leading into AI dominance. And you should also all know that this is not about technology. It is about reshaping the global power. You know, USA will say we are the global power. China are trying to come and say, no, we are there also. And that is why they are fostering different technological design. And this that is happening in the world demand your attention and demand my own words, attention as an African community. We all know that China has this rapid rise in AI, and that has indicated a powerful lesson for us as a community, which is, you know, when you go talk about China, this is well driven by national aspiration, huge investment, data advantage, and a deep integration between town. When I'm talking about town, I'm talking about industry. When I'm talking about gowns, I'm talking about academician and government. I was once in the industry, and immediately after my PhD, I felt, what should I be doing in the industry? You know, in the industry, I can't dress like this. I'll put on my suit, I'll put on everything. When I'm traveling, I must be on suit. I felt when I get to academics, I have this free life and I needed to leave. But I'm just telling us that you need to understand that there's a gap between the industry and the academician and also the government. And that is why the focus of China has brought about self-sufficiency, development of talent as a blueprint for success. And we all know what China is when we are talking about. So, yeah, okay, this talk is to equip all of us at various stages of experience. Forget whether you are a beginner, whether you are an intermediate, or you are an expert. This talk is to, at this moment, aspire us. We all deliberate, we all conclude, and we determine how we can shape AI proficiency and the destiny in building an AI future in Africa that truly benefits all of us, regardless of our color. I know, you know, South Africa, they are not as black as we are, but we are one. And that is why AI promises significant economic boost. I know you know that. That with AI, that is where the economic boost is coming. And it is what we are to do as stakeholders. That is, it also has the risk of increasing inequality and making less developed countries not to be at the forefront, but creating a digital dependence. If you want to create a model or you want to do a tax now, you don't have choice than to depend on what? On the multinational organization, yes or no? So, where we need to start, who truly owns African AI future? Who truly owns African AI future? The government and the policymakers. I don't know whether you agree with me, but yesterday I came, I wanted to post something on Facebook, and I logged in and I realized my Facebook was not going. And I went to Google, I searched, and I noticed the government of Togo have closed down social media except LinkedIn. So you agree with me that the government and the policymakers are the one that will truly what? Owns African AI future. And that is why you and I must be part of the government. We cannot just sit down and be coding. We cannot just sit down and be doing prints, this and this. We must be part of them and make sure we are bringing in policies that change or that will change the African setting. The first thing we need to do is we have to prioritize policies and structures. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm actually talking about who truly owns Africa AI future. You all agree with me, like I said earlier. Sorry, I'm too fast, and I'm getting to understand that if I go a bit slower, you all get me better. But I'm just trying to manage my time because I have only 20 minutes to speak. And as a lecturer, we are born, so we are trained to be in that part. So we have to prioritize policies and structures that foster local AI ideas rather than relying on large multinational firms. So whatever you are building, whatever you are developing, should be tailored towards your what? Your roots. If I'm designing an AI platform now, I design that AI platform to suit Nigeria roots. You design to suit what? The Togolese aspect. If you're in Kenya, you do that for your Kenyan and every other thing. Like we are working on different programs in my country now on how to train using natural language on different languages, such that if you want to learn Python, you don't need to speak in English. You can learn Python in Ijebu language. Don't forget, in Nigeria, we have close to 256 dialects, apart from our English language. So, and Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo, those are the middle ones. So imagine me learning Python in in Ijebu language. My mother is from Ijebu. Imagine me learning Python in Ibadan language. My father is from Ibadan. And that is why we are also doing some program in Nigeria. I call it Rural Python, where we go to the rural villages to expose them at a tender age to what AI and programming is all about. Regulation of technology giants with high AI governance to ensure that our data is not exploited for external economic boosts. I want to tell you today that you and I were the one that gave power to Google. You know, when we were growing up, we all started with Yahoo. We opened a Yahoo mail, but all of a sudden, they brought phones into the African country for us. And before you can have a mobile phone for connection, you have to have a what? A Gmail account. And before you have a Gmail account, they will get in your what? Your data. And that's how they have access to all our data. And they are using that data to make enough money for themselves. It is high time we sit down, we think, and see how we can regulate Google in Togo, how we can regulate Google in Nigeria, how we can regulate Google in Africa at large, that they don't have choice than to live by our own structure. We need to look into local data control by ensuring Africa control their own data. Where are the data centers? They only build it here, but they have controls. We need to have our own. We need to sit down together and make sure that we can control our own data by keeping it and ensuring it serves the local needs instead of being used and monetized by foreign firms. Those are the things we should aspire to do, aspire to be. How do we prevent digital colonialism? I hope I'm talking to government officials here. Even if they are not here, I hope one of us will go out there and do the needful. I'm trusting that by the time I get back to my country, I'll put this on national dailies such that if the federal government should read it, they have an idea of what to do and how to go about it. The first thing is investment. As we are seated here, the team members have invested time. They've invested a lot to make us come here. And that is why our government are to look into it and invest into everything. Electricity, you know, we're sitting down here, something happened. To you, it might be nothing, but I'm used to that where I come from. You might not have electricity for 3 days, for 4 days. In my house, I have solar and I have 3 generators. So imagine that now. So that is why our government has to stand up and invest into computing power. They give us access to what will make us to work. We have the talents. We have everything here. If you go out there, you see different Africans making different things over there. I read of recent of a Nigerian that went to space and that planted a goosey. Do you understand that now? So we have the resources. We have the manpower, but we need investment. Our government to give us computing power and to give us internet. I used to say this, data is life. You know, as a Christian, sometimes we talk about Jesus Christ is life. I said, data is life. Without data, just assume there is no data here. Everything will be boring. And that is why we need internet connectivities. We need data centers. We need to build our own data centers. We don't need to be relying on the national firm again. We need to localize our artificial models to local needs. Don't forget, if you build a model and your model is to solve a global need, it's just like, okay, I have a student, my MSc student is writing a project, and she's trying to talk about how she will solve a solution for the blind people where they can, once you get to the system gives you voice. You use voice to interact with the system. And sometimes I ask her, what is the difference between what you are trying to do with Siri or with what Google has given us? And up till now, she has not yet given me that gap that I needed for her to move forward. Because there are solutions out there. But when you are making solutions, make solutions where people walking around the streets can have access and to solve their problems. Not the one that have been solved earlier. Not the one that have been global. the one that will be tailored to your local needs. Look at your community. Look at what model can I design that will do what? That will change my community. We are talking about automation, and that is what AI is all about. We need to reduce our continued extraction of African user data. We need to work on that. They're actually taking a lot of our data from us, and that is why we need to invest. So, building competency AI talents for proficiency. The first one is that we have to start from the roots. I know in Nigeria we have primary school. We have to start from the roots, and that has to do with the children. From primary school, we start with STEM education. We expose students to Python, to AI from the beginning for them to have the knowledge. And from there, we need to build a local proficiency in localized AI solution. Our government has to enforce this. And we need to nurture an AI ecosystem. Do we have an African AI ecosystem? No. Togo is doing its own. Nigeria is doing its own. We are all doing its own. African Union, what are they doing? We need to come together and free ourselves from this colonialism by building competitive AI talent for proficiency. Our aspiration so far, while I've mentioned all of this, I have not said nothing has been done. Do you understand? But we need to aspire to do what? To do more. I want to appreciate the federal government of Nigeria under the Ministry of Communication and Innovation by Dr. Bosun Tijani for the 3MTT Nigeria program that is shaping the future of Nigeria digital workforce. This program is free of charge, and once you get there, you have access to enough resources to build yourself. I once had a student that did his BSc, I supervised, he never knew anything about data science. I advised him, I encouraged him, and he went for this program. Now he's doing well. He's on LinkedIn posting and telling me what he has done. Also, deep learning in Daba, that is strengthening African machine learning. You all need to learn to be part of this. Just go to LinkedIn, go to Google, search for deep learning in Daba. This year was in Rwanda. Next year is coming to Nigeria. And Nigeria is not far from Togo. All you need to do is just make sure you apply. They will give you travel grants, and you meet different AI in enthusiasts, Python enthusiasts for you to discuss, and we can build the African community together. We also have Data Science Africa, that is harnessing data science for Africa's socio-economic development. I was part of the local organizing committee for Data Science Africa in Nigeria. We hosted the whole world. African in Ibadan last year. If you're in Data Science Africa, do you raise up your hand? None. At least I have people from Togo that were in Data Science Africa. Next year, we'll be going to Kigali again and Rwanda. You can as well search and apply. You also have a travel grant to go and for you to be part of this, what you are aspiring to be. We have Python Africa, and that is the Pan-African meeting of the Python programming community. I'll be in Python Africa by God's grace in October in South Africa. I'm having a workshop on Umbu data, and that Umbu data is for data scientists. And you can, though it's late for you to apply now, but you can as well plan for next year. These are communities that has helped us and that has shaped us. What I am here to do this morning or this afternoon is to encourage us as Africans that we need to stand up and aspire to do more beyond what these people have done. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. I want to ask if you understand the talk of our doctor. Do you understand? Are you sure? Can someone resume what he said? In English, of course. You will have a prize. Okay, I have a hand. Yeah. Okay, here. We, ok. Actuellement, Actuellement, c'est plus pour avoir un résumé, pour que les autres aussi puissent, ceux qui n'ont pas tout cerné, puissent comprendre. Donc, on va prendre une personne pour résumer en anglais, une personne pour résumer en français. D'abord en anglais.
Okay, good morning, everyone. From what he said, and from what I noted also, he said that from who truly owns Africa is the government and the policies maker. And he made mention of if we made adoption of AI in Africa, we'll be able to be as far as those from the multinational. And he also made mention in the prevention of digital colonization that it is also necessary for the government to be involved in what the people are doing in general. Because with investments and also with other people joining in technology, Africa will be in another level than those abroad. And finally, majority, he also talked about majority of the informations that were being controlled by the government, and that if we stood up for ourselves and maybe go against it, we'll be able to be somewhere else. So that's what I understood from what he said.
Maintenant, est-ce que vous avez compris avec la version résumée? Par acclamation, ceux qui ont compris globalement l'idée du talk. Ok, nous allons prendre aussi une personne pour nous résumer le contenu en français.
Vous avez dit qu'il y aura des prix. Qu'est-ce que je vais gagner? D'accord.
Déjà, en venant, vous avez déjà gagné quelque chose intellectuellement, en vrai.
Ok, c'est bien. Bon, merci encore pour la présentation. La présentation a commencé en présentant les deux grands mastodontes que nous avons actuellement dans le domaine de la technologie et surtout de l'IA, à savoir les États-Unis et la Chine. Donc le docteur a commencé en nous parlant de l'affrontement qu'il y a entre eux et comment la Chine a pris le pas sur les États-Unis. Ensuite, la seconde partie, c'est en parlant de ceux qui ont la main sur les moyens pour mettre en œuvre comment dire, la main sur le développement de l'IA. Donc, il a commencé avec une petite blague que j'ai aimée en disant que quand arrivé au Togo ici, qu'il a tenté de publier un truc sur Facebook et qu'il s'est rendu compte qu'en fait que le gouvernement a bloqué tous les réseaux sociaux sauf LinkedIn qui marche actuellement. Donc, en continuant de sa présentation, il a insisté sur le fait qu'il est important d'apprendre surtout aux enfants, surtout à la jeune enfance, les notions en Python et en IA. Donc, il a aussi parlé du fait de mettre en place des moyens. Apparemment, ils ont même déjà commencé à permettre à tout le monde d'apprendre Python, surtout dans leur langage. Donc, il a donné des exemples de son père et de sa mère qui sont de dialectes différents et donc, ce serait bien de mettre à leur disposition des moyens d'apprendre Python directement dans leur langue. Je n'ai pas forcément retenu les langues, mais je peux par exemple dire Yoruba et puis Anago. Bon, je prends ces deux exemples-là. Ensuite, aussi mettre à disposition des jeunes, surtout dans les lieux reculés, les zones rurales, aux jeunes enfants, la possibilité d'apprendre Python et les notions sur l'IA depuis le bas âge. Ensuite, il a abordé ce que nous devons faire pour pouvoir avoir la main, nous aussi, en Afrique, sur l'IA. Donc, de premier, au lieu de continuer à avoir des communautés propres à chaque pays, on pourrait déjà commencer à penser à une synergie autour de l'Afrique plutôt. Ensuite, il faut mettre en place des moyens de centraliser les données que nous avons, surtout quand il a parlé de Google, mettre en place des moyens de régulation pour que les données soient centralisées dans nos pays et que nous puissions les exploiter à nos fins plutôt que de les laisser à la merci des grandes firmes qui les exploitent. Donc le gouvernement et ceux qui ont la main doivent mettre en place des moyens, surtout investir dans l'énergie, surtout qu'on a eu un délestage aujourd'hui. Donc investir dans l'énergie, investir dans les moyens pour pouvoir mettre en place des data centers. Et donc comme ça, on pourra développer les technologies de l'IA ici. Bon, c'est un peu l'essentiel de ce que j'ai retenu. Merci.
Ok, merci pour ton explication. Je pense que maintenant, c'est beaucoup plus clair pour tout le monde. Et justement, pour les prix, après, tu as juste à venir voir nos organisateurs, tu recevras ton prix.